Objective for today is the same as the last two to solve mixture problems. Learning targets are still proportions and percents. Today's problem is just a little different than the previous two. Example number 1. A mixture contains water and acid. 9% of the mixture is acid. If adding 120 milliliters of water drops the percent of acid to 6%, then what was the total amount of the mixture at the beginning? Step 1 is to understand that we don't know how much we have to start with. We don't know how much water and acid combined we have, so we're going to call that X. Now, just like the other problems, you had to multiply the percent of acid by the total mixture in order to find out how much acid you have, and we're still doing that. 0.09 times X, which is the total, will give you the amount of acid in the mixture. Now, if you add 120 milliliters of water to the original total, that would be X plus 120, and that would give you your new total. Remember, X stands for the original amount combined of water and acid. And just like the previous problem, you're going to have to divide your amount of acid, 0.09x, by the new total, which is now X plus 120. That will equal the new percent, which is 6. 6% as a fraction is 6 over 100. From there, you can cross multiply. Multiply 0.09x times 100 to come up with 9x. And then 6 times x is 6x, and 6 times 120 is 720. From there, you solve the equation. Move the 6x to the left and change the sign. Make it minus 6x. And 9x minus 6x is 3x. From there, you just have to divide. X will equal 720 divided by 3, which will come out to be 240 milliliters of water and acid that you started with at the beginning of the problem. Example number 2. A mixture contains water and acid. 12% of the mixture is acid. If adding 60 milliliters of water drops the percent of acid to 8%, then what was the total amount of the mixture at the beginning? So remember, you don't know what the mixture is of water and acid. You don't know how much you have, so you have to call that X. And just like the previous problems, you have to multiply 12% by your total to get the amount of acid you have. So that's 0.12 times X, which is the total, and that equals how much acid you have. We just don't know what it is yet. Now, you're adding 60 milliliters of water to the original total. We don't know what that total was. It's X. So you add 120, or not 120, that's from the other problem. You add 60 to X, and that gives you your new total. Remember, you have to divide the amount of acid by the new total. And in this case, the amount of acid is 0.12x, and the new total is x plus 60. That is equal to the new percent of 8. 8% as a fraction is 8 over 100. Now cross multiply. 0.12x times 100 is 12x. And 8 times x is 8x. 8 times 60 is 480. Move the 8x to the left. Change it to minus. and then simplify the left. 12 minus 8 is 4. And to get the final answer, you divide 480 by 4. And that comes out to be 120 milliliters of water and acid. Practice number 1. A mixture contains water and acid. 12% of the mixture is acid. If adding 140 milliliters of water drops the percent of acid to 10%, then what was the total amount of the mixture at the beginning? On the practice problem, you have to let the amount of mixture of water and acid be equal to X, and then multiply that by the percent of acid. That will give you how much acid in milliliters that we have. And now you have to add 140 milliliters of water to the original total, which is X, so it's X plus 140, and that equals the new total. Divide 0.12x by X plus 140, and set it equal to the 10%, which is the new percent of acid, 10 over 100. Cross multiply here to get 12x, and then here to get 10x plus 1400. Now 12x minus 10x equals 1400. That's 2x equals 1400. Divide 1400 by 2 to get an answer of 700 milliliters. Practice number 2. A mixture contains water and acid. 6% of the mixture is acid. If adding 300 milliliters of water drops the percent of acid to 4%, then what was the total amount of the mixture at the beginning? We don't know what the mixture is of water and acid total, so we'll make that X. We have to multiply that total X by 6% in order to have something that tells us what our acid amount is. So we'll just call this acid. Now we're adding 300 milliliters of water to the original total. Of course, that total is X still, so X plus 300. And that equals your new total. You must divide the amount of acid by the new total and set it equal to the new percent, which is 4. That's 4 over 100. Cross multiply here to get 6x, and then here to get 4x plus 1200. 6x minus 4x is 2x. And when you divide 1200 by 2, you'll get 600 milliliters. Practice number 3. A mixture contains water and acid. 15% of the mixture is acid. If adding 200 milliliters of water drops the percent of acid to 11, then what was the total amount of the mixture at the beginning?